For over 3 decades, a yellow-skinned family from Springfield has been doing something that's left millions of viewers stunned, seemingly predicting the future with such eerie accuracy that it defies rational explanation. The Simpsons has somehow managed to forecast everything from presidential elections to scientific discoveries years before they actually happened, with a precision that borders on the supernatural. But how deep does this rabbit hole really go? The coincidences are so numerous and specific that they've sparked conspiracy theories about the show's writers having access to some kind of time machine, psychic abilities, or hidden knowledge from shadowy organizations controlling world events. Today, we're diving into the most bone-chilling examples that prove the Simpsons might know more about our future than any government, corporation, or intelligence agency on the planet. Revelations so accurate, they'll make you question everything you thought you knew about reality itself. Long before Donald Trump stood on the political stage announcing his presidential bid, The Simpsons had already placed him in the Oval Office. In a 2000 episode titled Bart to the Future, Lisa Simpson becomes president after Trump's administration leaves the country broke. What's absolutely mind-blowing is that this aired 16 years before Trump would actually become president. The episode even featured a scene with Lisa wearing a purple outfit nearly identical to what Kamala Harris wore at her inauguration. The writers couldn't have possibly known Trump would run for office, let alone win. Or could they? Even more disturbing, another episode featured a Trump campaign sign that some believe predicted the 2024 election cycle and events that would unfold during it. The coincidence is so precise, it's difficult to write off as mere chance. But the political predictions don't stop there. They extend into a web of governmental foresight that defies explanation. A 2019 clip from the show seemed to predict the Biden-Harris presidency with remarkable accuracy, showing a female vice president in an outfit strikingly similar to what Harris would later wear. Even more unsettling, a 1998 episode featured a scene where a President Schwarzenegger was mentioned, long before Arnold Schwarzenegger ever entered politics or became governor of California. In another mind-bending prediction, a 2009 episode showed voting machines changing votes, years before concerns about electronic voting security would become a hotly debated topic in real-world elections. The show's predictive powers extend far beyond politics and into the realm of pop culture with a precision that defies rational explanation. In 2012, The Simpsons featured Lady Gaga performing at a halftime show where she descended from the stadium roof in a harness suspended by cables while performing. 5 years later, Gaga's actual Super Bowl performance in 2017 mirrored this fictional scene almost exactly, from the aerial entrance to elements of her costume and even specific dance moves. The similarities were so striking that even Lady Gaga herself acknowledged the connection, leading many to wonder if she had been directly inspired by the cartoon's vision of her future, or if something far more mysterious was at play. In one of the darkest and most disturbing coincidences, a Simpsons episode showed a news anchor announcing the death of a beloved sports figure, with imagery and wording eerily reminiscent of how the news of Kobe Bryant's tragic helicopter crash would later be reported. The somber tone, breaking news format, and even the visual composition of the scene proved to be an unsettling parallel to the real-life tragedy that would shock the world years later. Some viewers were so disturbed by the similarity that they created viral comparison videos showing the animated news report side by side with the actual CNN coverage. The resemblance is enough to send chills down your spine. The show also seemingly predicted Elon Musk's Twitter acquisition and rebranding with shocking specificity. An episode featured Musk introducing himself as the greatest living inventor before taking over a platform and declaring the bird is free, the exact terminology that would later be echoed in Musk's actual tweets when he acquired the social media platform. Even more unnerving, the episode showed Musk implementing controversial changes to the platform that would later mirror his actual business decisions at Twitter/X. The similarities go far beyond coincidence, with specific phrases and business strategies being nearly identical to what would transpire in reality years later. But The Simpsons' pop culture predictions extend even further. The show predicted Disney's acquisition of Fox nearly 20 years before it happened in a 1998 episode that showed 20th Century Fox as a division of Walt Disney Kutzery, an ownership change that wouldn't take place until 2017. The show also predicted the rise of smartwatches, autocorrect, FaceTime, and even the Tiger King phenomenon decades before they became reality. Music industry insiders were shocked when they realized a 1999 episode predicted the exact stage design of a Guns N' Roses concert that wouldn't occur until 17 years later. Another episode from 2008 featured a song that bore striking similarities to Pharrell Williams' Happy, 6 years before the real song would be released and become a global hit. The precision with which these cultural phenomena were predicted has led some entertainment industry executives to joke that they should study Simpsons episodes for future trends. When it comes to technological innovations, The Simpsons has been astonishingly ahead of its time. In 1995, the show featured a watch that could make phone calls, nearly 2 decades before Apple would release the Apple Watch, and other companies would develop smart wearable technology. The episode showed the device's capabilities in a way that perfectly forecasted how we would eventually use such technology in our daily lives. More recently, fans noted that The Simpsons seemingly predicted the Apple Vision Pro in an episode that showed characters using a virtual reality headset with features remarkably similar to Apple's actual product. The visual design and functionality match up in ways that are difficult to dismiss as coincidence, with both the cartoon and real product featuring the same distinctive wraparound style and interface interactions. In fact, when images of the two were placed side by side on social media, even tech industry insiders were stunned by the similarity. The scientific community was left utterly stunned when they realized that a 1998 episode had Homer Simpson writing an equation on a blackboard that closely approximated the mass of the Higgs boson particle, which wouldn't be discovered until 14 years later in 2012. Prominent physicists were baffled by the accurate mathematical prediction hidden in what many would dismiss as just a cartoon. The equation was so precise that CERN scientists reportedly contacted the show's writers asking how they could possibly have known about a particle that the world's most advanced scientific equipment hadn't yet detected. How could cartoon writers have known about a scientific discovery that would revolutionize our understanding of particle physics over a decade before it happened? Some scientists have even half-jokingly suggested the writers might have access to classified research or information from the future. The COVID-19 pandemic also appears to have been foreshadowed in The Simpsons with a level of detail that sends shivers down the spine of even the most skeptical viewers. In a 1993 episode titled Margin Chains, a mysterious illness called the Osaka flu spreads through Springfield after a sick factory worker in Japan coughs into boxes shipping juicers to the town. The eerie parallels don't stop there. The episode shows desperate townspeople seeking cures, panic buying, and even includes scenes of quarantine that mirror our recent global experience with haunting similarity. In another jaw-dropping coincidence, a clip shows a newscaster gravely announcing that new infections are exploding nationwide, words that would become horrifyingly familiar during the actual pandemic years later. But perhaps most chilling of all, a different episode featured murder hornets, which mysteriously appeared in North America for the first time in 2020 during the height of COVID-19. The convergence of these multiple predictions about a global health crisis decades before it happened has left even the most hardened skeptics questioning if someone behind the scenes knew exactly what was coming. The show's financial predictions have been equally stunning, almost as if the writers had access to future Wall Street data decades in advance. In an episode that aired years before the 2008 financial crisis, The Simpsons portrayed market instability and a character explicitly stating, "This is not going to end well. It will end very badly for the public." The dialogue eerily mirrors the warnings that economists would later give about the actual financial collapse, suggesting the writers had some insider insight into the economic vulnerabilities that would eventually lead to a global recession. But that's just the tip of the financial prophecy iceberg. In a 1998 episode, Homer buys a car from a company called Canyonero, a name strikingly similar to the Lehman Brothers Repo 105 accounting trick that would later be implicated in the 2008 financial crisis. Even more blood-chilling is a 2005 episode where a character mentions housing market bubble years before the actual housing collapse that triggered the Great Recession. The Simpsons even predicted the rise of cryptocurrency long before Bitcoin was invented. In a 1997 episode, a virtual currency called Itchy and Scratchy Money is introduced that has no actual value, a concept that would later be debated about cryptocurrency. In another spine-tingling coincidence, a 2014 episode showed a store called Crypto Barn right before the cryptocurrency boom would take off. Most disturbing of all, in a 2000 episode, a character uses a specific trading algorithm that bears an uncanny resemblance to high-frequency trading strategies that would later be blamed for the 2010 flash crash in the stock market. Some financial analysts have actually gone back through Simpsons episodes looking for clues about future market movements after noticing how frequently the show's economic jokes would later become reality. The precision with which The Simpsons has predicted major financial shifts has even led some Wall Street insiders to wonder if the show's writers might have connections to financial power brokers with knowledge of long-term market manipulation plans. Perhaps most blood-curdling is how the show appeared appeared to foreshadow serious incidents like the Donald Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Social media users quickly pointed out similarities between the real event and scenes depicted in the show years earlier, with some frames from the cartoon looking almost identical to actual news footage. The visual parallels were so strong that they reignited discussions about how The Simpsons continues to predict major world events with uncanny accuracy. Some security experts have even suggested that the writers might inadvertently be tapping into patterns of future events that intelligence agencies themselves haven't detected. This isn't the only major incident The Simpsons seems to have foreknown with disturbing precision. The 1997 episode, The City of New York vs. Homer Simpson, featured the World Trade Center prominently, with some scenes showing a brochure with the Twin Towers, and the number 9 on one side and the number 11 on the opposite page. An image some believe foreshadowed the 9/11 attacks. While this could be dismissed as coincidence, what's harder to explain is how a different episode showed a scene of buildings collapsing in New York with imagery eerily reminiscent of the actual tragedy. Royal events haven't escaped The Simpsons' predictive powers either. An episode featured a news anchor announcing the death of a royal figure in a manner strikingly similar to how Queen Elizabeth II's passing would later be reported. The formal announcement, somber tone, and specific imagery used in the cartoon would later be mirrored in real-world coverage with such precision that royal correspondents themselves noticed the similarities. But that's not the only royal prediction that's come true. Years before Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepped back from royal duties, a move that shocked the world. A Simpsons episode featured a storyline about a royal family member abandoning their duties for a life in another country. The parallels between the animated story and the real-life Megxit are so precise that it's difficult to believe they're just coincidence. Even more startling, a 1995 episode showed a scene with a royal wedding where the bride wore a dress remarkably similar to Kate Middleton's actual wedding dress from her 2011 marriage to Prince William, 16 years before the event. The cartoon dress featured the same neckline, lace detailing, and silhouette that would later appear on Middleton's custom Alexander McQueen gown. The show even predicted scandals within the royal family with disturbing accuracy. The 2003 episode included a storyline about a royal figure engaged in inappropriate behavior, years before actual royal scandals would emerge with similar themes. Royal historians have noted that The Simpsons seems to have an uncanny ability to forecast not just major royal events, but specific details about those events that shouldn't be predictable years in advance. So what explains The Simpsons' seemingly supernatural ability to predict the future with such bone-chilling accuracy? Some rational minds point to the law of large numbers. With over 700 episodes spanning more than 3 decades, coincidences are statistically inevitable. Others suggest the writers are exceptionally observant about cultural and technological trends, allowing them to make educated guesses about where society is heading. But these explanations fall dramatically short when confronted with the specificity and frequency of the show's predictions. The more unsettling theories suggest something far more sinister is at play. Some believe the show's creators have direct access to insider information from governments, corporations, and secret societies that plan world events decades in advance. Others suggest the writers might be unknowingly channeling predictive information from extrasensory perception, or even time travelers providing information from the future. The show itself has playfully nodded to these theories with references to the Illuminati. But is it really just a joke or a hidden confession? Former Simpsons writer Bill Oakley once stated, "There are very few cases where The Simpsons predicted something, yet the evidence suggests otherwise." Is this denial itself part of a larger cover-up? Some conspiracy researchers point out that The Simpsons is owned by Disney, which has alleged historical connections to shadowy organizations that some believe control world events. Could the show be deliberately seeding information about planned future events as a form of psychological preparation? What's absolutely undeniable is The Simpsons' profound cultural impact and its uncanny connection to future events that continues to mystify viewers worldwide and leave experts completely baffled. As we've explored these mind-bending predictions, one disturbing question remains: what current Simpsons storylines might be forecasting catastrophes, breakthroughs, or world-changing events we have yet to experience? Recent episodes have featured scenarios involving new pandemics, climate disasters, and political upheavals that haven't yet occurred. If the show's track record holds, should we be preparing for these events? Some doomsday preppers have actually started watching The Simpsons specifically looking for clues about future disasters to prepare for. Intelligence agencies reportedly have analysts who monitor the show for possible leaked classified information hidden in plain sight as jokes. Perhaps the most unsettling thought isn't isn't what the show has already predicted, but what current episodes might be telling us about what's still to come in our own lives. The Yellow Oracle of Springfield continues to blur the line between entertainment and prophecy, leaving us all wondering where the coincidences end and the true predictions begin. And maybe that uncertainty is exactly what someone wants us to feel, keeping us watching, analyzing, and questioning just how much of our reality is truly unpredictable and how much might be planned decades in advance by forces beyond our understanding.